Hello, everybody. Your coach, yeah, and one of the frontline soldier in the rebellion and the fight and the struggle of our Kenyan football. Today, there are two main issues that I want us to tackle. Issue number one, I want us to talk about FIFA forward funds. This is the money that federations like FKF are given by FIFA to develop football in the country and to do projects that are meant for football development in the country. However, we know that up to year 2019, FKF was receiving 120 million Kenya shilling to develop football and to do football projects in the country. But now, from 2020, the new cycle, FIFA has increased the money up to 200 million Kenya shillings. Therefore, that means that this year, 2020, that is about to end, FKF has received 200 million Kenya shilling, and going into next year, the same thing will happen. Yeah, this is called FIFA Forward Funds. The federations are given this money to develop football projects in the country. Now, what I want to say to this, that in regard to this money, yeah, FKF is very secretive. FKF does not tell Kenyans when it receives the money and how the money is used. And this is very bad. This is lack of accountability. And I want to ask Kenyans, yeah, like-minded Kenyans, Kenyans of goodwill, to seek accountability in regard to this money, because this is a lot of money given to FKF. And we know the state of the country in football, where referees are not even paid. Starlets, yeah, are not paid. Football in the country is in a very poor state. Yeah, there are so many problems within our football. So where does this money come and go like that? Yeah, 1 year, 200 million, come and gone. And apart from that, there are money that also the government, gives to the federation now and then. So that is not the only money. Yeah, we know there are stories of COVID money from FIFA. So many money is being received by FKF. Yeah, but it is not accounted for, or it is FKF is not open. Yeah. Or it doesn't have transparency in telling Kenyans how this money is spent. And remember, this money is meant for Kenyans. This money is not for the federation. It is for Kenyans. Federation only receives this money in trust of Kenyans, because FIFA have to channel this money to the federation. Then it can be used, yeah, toward projects that will help Kenyan football. But the federation, once the federation receives this money, it treats this money like the federation's money, and no one in Kenya understands where it goes. So for me, I want to say this. We need to question the federation, how this FIFA forward funds is spent. And remember the issue of the OBE van. The money that was used to buy OBE van that never arrived in the country, that no one has ever seen even the invoice, and we call it a scandal. This OBE van was part of that money in 2018. And remember, in 2019, FIFA had a meeting in South Africa, and FKF and Nick Mwendo, as the president of football in Kenya, went there, convinced FIFA that this is a good program and a lot of Kenyans had reservation. Kenyans had refused this idea of buying OBE van. But FKF went there to South Africa, convinced FIFA officials, and FIFA official, Veron Musengo, said that this was a good idea. Today, we want to ask Veron Musengo, where is our van? We want to ask FIFA, where is our van today? Where is our money? This is a scandal, because we don't have the van, we don't have the money. But we want FIFA to answer us that. We want Veron Musengo to answer us that question. We want FKF president to answer us that question, and why FKF did not listen to Kenyans when they already had reservation about buying this van. So therefore, for me, this FIFA forward planning money, this FIFA forward funds, is being used, kiholela holela, and it is escaping in people's bank accounts and pockets, and being used for lunches and whatever you want to call it. You can say it is an allegation, shauri yako, call it an allegation or whatever you want. For us Kenyans, we want to see something tangible. We want to see benefits. We want to see positively how this money is used to develop Kenyan football, because Kenyan football, yeah, should not be facing the problems in regard to money that is facing right now if only this FIFA money was used correctly and if there was accountability in this money. And I want to ask this question: how can a country lose 135 million Kenya shilling, yeah, in thin air, in the purchase of a van that did not even arrive in the country, and no one takes responsibility? This is how mad we are as Kenyans. This is how we joke with accountability. This is how we are fooled and cheated like this. Even if this is not a scandal, even if this is not a corruption, anyone who was involved in that decision that to buy the OBE van for the country should, as of now, be away and out of touching public fund anymore. Now, issue number 2 that I want us to discuss is about the scandals, yeah? Many scandals of FKF, and I want to start by saying this. We have already talked about the OBE van, but I want to start from 2016, yeah? The Starlet Tanzania travel scandal, where passports were stamped and a pretend journey was created and money was spent and Starlet never traveled. This is not a story. You can find it in social media. You can find it in YouTube. It was even investigated by NTV. It is out there in Kenya. But that happened. Money was eaten. Story ends there. Now, again, the Egypt hotel scandal. Remember 2019, there was that invoice from a hotel in Egypt that FKF claimed that it was for 4 million, but the actual money was 1.8 million. It was investigated. The documentary is there, and you know that story. And when the government followed this story, and the government said to FKF, we want to pay this money to the hotel as the government. FKF asked the government to pay this money to FKF officials' account. Why? Because they said the officials had already spent their money. Look at that, how fishy is that story, that the government need to pay money to FKF officials' accounts because they had spent money paying things out there in Egypt or paying for the hotel. What is this? That is how corruption takes place. That's how scandals take place. Yeah. Now, let us talk about the travel, that the story that is called Joyriders, where FKF officials traveled to Egypt to go enjoy their time there and watch AFCON, while they could have watched it on TV in Kenya and use that money positively and in a better way to solve issues that are affecting Kenyan football. We know like starlets are not paid from 2016, I don't know, 2018. Mambo mengi, we know starlets are being paid 2,500 when they are at the camp. Wanachezewa tu. But then the officials can go to Egypt and pay themselves, yeah, 50, 45,000 a day just in Egypt enjoying CAF tournament. And we know that these officials were not needed in Egypt. They were not part of the team. They are not meant to travel. So what is that? These are all scandals I'm lining up for you because I want to ask you a question at the end of these scandals. Think about, again, the France trip where the team, Harambee Stars team, went to France, stayed for 18 days in the camp, and they spent 106 million Kenya shilling. But we don't know whether the team was being treated well or they only spent 10% of the amount and the rest went through corruption and scandals. We don't know this. But 106 million Kenya shilling for 18 days is a lot of money. And was this necessary? Because I said before, in Egypt, where the team was going to play AFCON, the temperature was 30 degrees. In Kenya, the temperature was 30 degrees. In Egypt, in France, temperature was 19 degrees. So that trip was not relevant. This team could have just stayed in Kenya, train in Kasarani, get ready, and go to Egypt. The travel to the travel to France and the stay in France was not relevant. Not a country like Kenya, where football is so poor, where money is being wasted. This FKF, they just wanted to go to France, find a way to use money, and I disagree with how that money was used. But that is a story of another day. That's another scandal. Now, let us say this. Today, FKF has brought Kenyan football into disrepute. There is no organization that would want to get involved in Kenyan football unless that organization does not respect itself. You can tell me about Bet King and Bet Queens. You can tell me about Odibets. You can tell me about Betway and Betika and Bet King and whatever. But I'm telling you today, speak to Nike, speak to Adidas, speak to Joma, speak to Barclays Bank, yeah? Speak to KBC Bank that is already sponsoring football in Tanzania. Why none of these companies want to get involved in Kenyan football? Because it is very easy for them to ruin their name and their brand by sponsoring Kenyan football. That's why you see FKF can only approach betting companies. And I'm telling you today, no company that respects its reputation that is going to get involved in sponsoring Kenyan football. That's why we are going from Bet King to Bet Queen, and we cannot find any other company. And when you come to talk about jerseys for Harambee Stars, taxpayers in Kenya are having to buy jerseys for the team because the team cannot find a credible sponsor for their jerseys. So, Wakenya wenzangu, what do we need to do? What we need to do is to deal with our football the right way, to deal with the federation the right way, and say to the federation that you, under your watch, under your leadership, you have brought Kenyan football into disrepute. And going forward, Kenyan football is only going to get poor unless it can sanitize itself. And it cannot sanitize itself through this same federation that is riddled with corruption and scandals. Today, do me a favor. Please do a search in Google. Search FKF. Don't even put the word scandal. Search FKF and see the line of scandals that are going to come through. Then type FKF scandals and see the list. The list is endless. And these scandals are coming every day and so fast. Even if you want to call them allegations, why are they just happening to FKF? We cannot have over 7 scandals and allegations within 4 years. This is just too much for a football federation in a country. And therefore, I will say this, FIFA cannot help our football. FIFA will have no moral authority to support FKF. FIFA will have no moral authority to force FKF on Kenyans. Wakenya wenzangu, let us think of our football. Let us think about the future of our football and the future of our children. I leave you in peace. I'm gone.